Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome. I am Raz. That is Stephen. Thank you once again for joining us on the post show, the AEW Dynamite post show. How are you doing, my good dude?
I am doing all right, Raz. How you been doing, buddy?
I am doing really, really well. Thank you for asking. Before we get into full details, hi, C. Henry. Thank you for joining us. Alex is here as usual on the Twitch side. Thank you very much. We got to go. We got to go over a few things from this past weekend.
Oh yeah,
because we had a massive pay-per-view this past weekend, and a lot of shit went down. We need to talk about that before we get into this Dynamite. So, where would you like to start the discussion here, Stephen?
Hey, let's talk about WrestleDream. Let's go for it.
Sure. So at WrestleDream, we've got the biggest thing coming out of WrestleDream. The absolute biggest thing coming out of that show has to be the fact that after 20 years in obscurity and slumming in the streets of Paris, that we got the return or AEW debut of Rico. What are your thoughts?
Unbelievable. I looked at my TV screen. I was like, is that what I think it is?
And yes, you were right. Rico has finally made his way back to the mainstream, back to the big stage. What I got to say, good moment, great moment for AEW. Like
that was
it was not
choice, though. That was a good choice, though. I thought Tyler Breeze would be a good fit too.
Yeah, it was definitely a comedy thing, but that was fantastic. I think that they did really, really well with it. Obviously, that's not the biggest thing coming out of it. Yes, with big yellow teeth now as well. This is what happens when you're slumming on the streets of Paris. You
got those sideburns all the way right here.
Yep.
It has no gray hair on them, by the way.
Of course not. Of course not. He's a fashion icon. What do you expect?
But all joke aside, though, he looked pretty good for his age, though.
He really did, and I think it was good to have that little comedy moment and see him in the ring with Billy once again, and that nostalgia sort of factor. It was great. Obviously, he's not going to be a long-term thing going forward. It's just going to be something that they use every now and again. But I think they did really, really well with it.
Yeah, they did.
So we clearly have to talk about probably the two biggest things that came out of the show. Hi, ABJ. Thank you for coming along and watching. We appreciate you. We have to talk about the two big things that came out of WrestleDream. The first being that we have a brand new international champion in Konosuke Takeshita, with the fact that Kyle Fletcher turned his back on his brother.
I knew it.
Putting for even more tension on the Australia-England relationship. I mean, it was bad enough with the cricket. And that we beat them in pretty much fucking everything. So now he's gone and done this. What do you think?
I think the Triple Threat International title match at WrestleDream is the best match of the night, hands down.
Oh, definitely. It was definitely match of the night.
You know, Ricochet did great. You know, I know Ospreay's going to take the pin. You know, I knew something's going to be brewing, you know.
Ospreay taking the pin, though, did not hurt him, and it did not hurt
Ricochet either.
Because Ricochet obviously didn't need to take the pin. He needed to be involved in the match. But him taking the pinfall would have hurt him, but he didn't need to take it. Alex says Take a Shitter was going to pin Ospreay with the knee. You were right, yes.
I've been saying this for months, that he deserves that international title to begin with.
Yeah. And we've also found out that his first title defense will actually be in Canada. He will actually be defending that title in Canada against a TNA original, Josh Alexander.
And he's also wrestling day before that. He's wrestling Eliminator versus Speedball Mike Bailey.
There you go. There you go. So, like, the title will become a proper international title, and it's a good thing. I think Takeshita holding the belt is a very, very smart move. It gives us a sense of belief in him as a talent, and the dude is talented, whether you like it or not.
He is talented. I'll give it. Kudos.
Yeah.
He's very talented, and he's going to hold that international title for quite a while. He's going to hold that title.
I'm keen to see how we go with Kyle Fletcher here, because he's going to work great as a heel. Aussie Open worked great as heels when they were doing New Japan. I think that this is his breakout time. I think that Fletcher has muscled up. He's definitely built himself up from what he was. And like, he's going to be dominant. And I think that we're going to see from this a side of Kyle Fletcher that no longer just relies on the tag team side of things, that he's going to be a dominant singles star and he's going to get a great singles run. I could see eventually him feuding with Takeshita over the belt, but that's obviously going to be in the future. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ospreay versus Fletcher, probably at Full Gear. And I really believe the wild card of this is Fletcher's tag team partner, Mark Davis, if he's going to return.
Yeah.
So
I don't know when Davis is going to be ready for a return. I think he's still out for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Who knows? Like, we get told one thing and then the next week they're back. So
well, I know he had a broken wrist. That's the reason why he's out at the time. So.
Yeah. But definitely I think that we've got great programs coming forward. We've got the Takeshita, Ricochet, we've got Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher definitely coming out of this. We could see a crossbreed of all four of those guys, where you have Ricochet going against Fletcher and Ospreay going against Takeshita. So it's a big mix.
I think Ricochet's going to wrestle him first for the international title.
We definitely have to talk about one thing that came out of the show, and that clearly is the fact that we have a brand new AEW World Champion for the fourth time in Jon Moxley, a fourth time, the only person to be the four-time champion. Alex thinks that's mid. We understand why. A lot of people were upset that Moxley won the belt. A lot of people upset with the way he won it. Not that he necessarily won it, but the way the match ended, by just being a chokeout. I think it worked brilliantly for the story. I think for the story, we got some absolute domination by Moxley. We got some absolute craziness. And you can see that he didn't even want to, like, when he won, he had his hands in his head. Like, why did I have to do this? Why did I have to do this? And I hate how John has technically beat Brian in every single time they fought in AEW, except that time they went to a draw.
Well, probably the Danielson's injury is probably worse than we thought. The reason why they had to pop the title of the box. So
I think the ending of the pay-per-view was, it took a gamut of emotions, and you ran a whole fucking roller coaster here.
Yeah.
You went from the excitement of the opening bell, before the opening bell when they were fighting, and then you have Moxley win the match. So it's like, oh shit. And the realization of Danielson's career, full-time career, is over. And then you have the absolute beatdown with Darby and even Jeff Jarrett, and you have all of that. So Like, it's not surprising that Moxley won. It really isn't, because apparently this is the way that Danielson wanted to go out, was Moxley beating him. So I think it was brilliant.
Don't get me wrong, though. I was really rooting for Danielson, though. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, for sure. Same. You are not wrong there. I wanted Danielson to win. I did not want him to lose. I was like, holy shit. Do I think we're going to get him coming back in the future? Possibly. I think if he has the surgery, and then
I don't think we'll see him till spring or something like that.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be. I think he might make a surprise visit in Australia, but I don't think he'll wrestle. I think it
depends on his injuries.
C. Henry says Mark Davis will probably be back around AEW for Grand Slam. I wouldn't be surprised. And Courtney's here. Thank you for showing up, Courtney. It's good to see you as always. But where was I? Danielson, I think he'll show up in Australia. I don't think he'll wrestle, though. And if he does show up in Australia, he'll be there to cause a bit of a problem for Moxley and his crew. We definitely have a strong contendership building here. I hope John is a transitional champion. I think he will be. I think what they are aiming to do is there's a slight swerve on what they're playing at here, because everybody thought, or the talk has been, are we building up Darby Allin here? Because Darby was the one that gave the title shot, that was given the title shot. Is Darby the one that's going to be built up to be the face that saves the company?
Well, future booking, I think it's going to be World's End, Mox versus Darby Allin for a title.
I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think we're going to build 2 stars here. Possibly 3. Possibly 3.
Thinking Omega?
No. I think we're building Darby Allin to face Moxley. Definitely. Possibly at World's End. But I don't think he's winning the belt.
No.
I think that Alex is right here. I think we're building Yuta. And we're building Yuta to come in and shut Moxley down. But once again, I don't think he's winning the belt. I think the one that we're getting to win the belt is going to be Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. Good choice.
I think because the way they ended the show, we had it end with Darby and Orange being the 2 focused. But Darby's too obvious.
Sorry.
Darby's too obvious.
Sorry.
Darby is too obvious of a choice. I think we're building to Orange Cassidy being the champion and being the one to beat Moxley and to take this company into a new era. I think that Moxley has put the word in here, and he's gone, I want to work a program with Orange, and that's the program we're building to.
Also, remember that promo last week with Jerry Lynn with Orange Cassidy? Build him up.
Yeah, 100%. So that's my take. I think that's going to happen. That's a whole different story, though. Anyway, we should probably get into the reason we're actually here, which is AEW Dynamite. We've now gotten off of the WrestleDream tangent because we were there just to recap everything we've seen. Oh, we do have a couple of things to talk about from WrestleDream that are going to come into this show. Courtney says that she thinks Murder Hawk will be a champ at some point. Possibly. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And Omega is not as young as people may think. No, he's not.
Let's talk about Orange.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Orange is not as young as people think. Yeah. Not Omega. Sorry, my bad. So we started the show tonight with a video package and a Moxley promo. basically running down the company, saying that AEW's turned to shit. He thinks that that nobody cares, like people don't care about what they're doing, and they're just there to get themselves out, or like they don't care, and that he basically wants to make them care. One thing I did take away, I think we are getting a new name for his group, but I don't think they're going to announce it just yet. I think they're going to be called the New Paradigm.
Interesting.
Because he did mention that this is a new paradigm and that they all work for him. So I think that we're going to get him call that group being called the New Paradigm rather than the BCC.
Yeah.
I think that will come into play in the next few weeks. Jay White should be the future of the company. I agree. I am disappointed.
Talk about OJ later on here.
We will get to Jay White in a little bit. I can see future program for Jay, but we'll talk about that in the future. So another big thing coming out of WrestleDream leading into tonight, the returns of our scumbag MJF and Adam Cole. Baby.
Head scratcher. That is a baby face.
I got a call in on ABJ on this one. He brought it up to me and said it, and it was exactly what he said. And I will get to it in a few minutes.
Okay.
Let's have a look. I think Darby versus Mox at Winter is Coming with John retaining. Then at World's End, it's Yuta and Mox with either him winning or losing. If he does retain, then Mox versus Cassidy a double or nothing. I like that idea. Alex. Great idea. Courtney says, "Ew, wasted returns."
Yeah,
no,
she's not a fan of Cole and MJF.
Not wasted returns. So we get Adam Cole coming out to the ring to start the official promos of the night. Obviously, crowd is going mental because it's Adam Cole. Adam Cole addresses the fact of the Undisputed Kingdom. He addresses the fact of he was the devil, and says that he needed to do it on his own. But he also brings up that he knows MJF, and this is where ABJ comes in. It was ABJ said, all that Adam Cole needs to do is say, I got him before he got me. And that's exactly what Cole pretty much said. He basically said he knows how much of a scumbag MJF is. He knows how much of an asshole he is and how putrid he is. And that that the reason he did what he did was because he got in before MJF could. He obviously calls out MJF for a match. MJF's music plays, but MJF doesn't come out. We then get to I believe it's a video package. I don't believe it's actually live. MJF on the screen saying that he's never going to give Adam Cole a chance to face him, and he's going to keep dangling the carrot. I have to say, these two working together, absolutely brilliant, have been brilliant since day one. Keep them working together. Just don't put it off for a super long time.
Yeah, I agree.
What are your thoughts, Stephen?
What do you think of Full Gear?
I don't think we're going to get it at Full Gear. I think we're going to get MJF throwing hurdles in Adam Cole's way, and we'll eventually get that MJF Adam Cole.
Double or Nothing's not till May. Jeez.
Yeah,
wait that
exactly.
long.
He's saying long-term booking, and I can agree with him. I can agree with
Wow.
Alex on this. Long-term booking. And I did notice AEW is starting to look towards the long term. We are starting to look towards a long-term future and longer stories and longer arcs and further matches. I think it's a really good idea. This show, while still promo heavy, was a better show than last week. Because last week we all know how much of a fucking shit show that was and how much I hated that.
Yeah, that was a bad show last week.
Whereas this week, while it was still promo heavy, we got some bloody good action in the ring. And yes, unfortunately, I am even going to say that a certain female on that roster put on a good quality match. But we'll get there. We'll
Do
get
we
there.
have to talk about her?
Unfortunately. Garcia and Perry, yep. Garcia is going to go through, get a slow build to Perry, trying to get through the Elite and then face Perry at Double or Nothing. I could see that as well. Do we think that Jimmy Jacobs leaving creative is a good thing?
He's been wanting to leave anyway.
Look, I think that Jimmy Jacobs leaving creative, we'll see. We will see. It came out recently that there is a person behind the scenes who's employed and has been working creative, and I agree with, once again, what ABJ said. Give him the book, and that's RJ City.
Yeah.
RJ City is supposedly responsible for everything that we've seen with Moxley and all that sort of stuff. So I think give him the book. If RJ City's able to write this, then we've got some quality stuff. So after that video package, or after the Adam Cole segment, we go to a video of Chris Jericho after WrestleDream being interviewed, saying he feels vindicated. But
that was BP. That was BP saying it.
Sorry, my bad. BP, I got to give him his credit. Otherwise, I'll get my fucking ass handed to me. Next time I talk to BP, he'll fucking shoot me. I also have another good potential match that was teased but never went into fruition. Bring it up and we'll see. We'll have a chat about that, Alex. Jericho wants another shot at the title, at the ROH title, saying that he wants to be a 2-time champion like Jay was. We then go backstage to Mark Briscoe accepting the challenge, calls for a ladder match next week on Dynamite, or a ladder war, whatever the fuck they call it.
I got a question. Why can't they just do the ladder match at the pay-per-view?
I think with what we were getting at the pay-per-view, they needed to save it. What we got at the pay-per-view, we needed to save it, especially with that sort of main event ending. We saw the Rainmaker and Omega, but we never got Rainmaker versus the Alpha. You're not wrong. We might get that. I think that might happen at some point, but we'll see. We'll have a chat about that when we get to a little bit down the line.
Yeah.
So Mark Briscoe accepts the challenge, calls for a ladder match for Dynamite, or a ladder war, whatever the fuck it is, next week. And then it gets confirmed that we're getting a ladder match. Jericho versus Mark Briscoe for the ROH World title next week on Dynamite.
Jericho needs to say, bye, guys.
Do you think we're getting a new ROH champion?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. How do you think Mark retains this time?
He beats him. What the ladder? The title's going to be on the top. You climb the ladder and get it.
Yeah, it's going to be like a traditional ladder match.
I think Briscoe's going to retain. I really do, because I think they're building up Briscoe.
Jericho needs to have walls built around him, not broken. Agreed. Agreed. Look, I agree that Jericho needs to take some time away to let us miss him. And I think possibly if he wins, keep him on ROH side of things. Don't bring him to Dynamite. Just keep him on the ROH side of things. Build him over there, and then give us time afterwards with that. Don't bring it to Dynamite.
It's really mind-boggling to me, though, that they get all these the ROH champions on wrestling AEW. They don't have Athena on there in the Dynamite anymore. Athena.
ABJ should book Collision and RJ City book Dynamite. That would be insane. I don't know if I want to give ABJ the book. A lot of the wrestlers that you like won't be on the show.
Don't give him any ideas.
A lot of the wrestlers that you like would not be on the show. Trust me on that one. We then move on to Big Bill versus FTR. Big Bill and Brian Keith versus FTR. First time we've seen FTR in the ring for a long time, especially with what's going on in Florida and North Carolina and all the tornadoes and all that sort of stuff.
Parents go out to them over there.
Yeah, great to see great to see them back. Great to see them working in the ring. They're a solid team. They're always a solid team. We know that. They pick up the win. We show LFI backstage, or Dralistico Rouge and
Mortos
backstage. We get the Outrunners to come out, which gets a massive fucking pop. We got a massive pop with the Outrunners. We then get the muscle shake with Outrunners and FTR.
Is it every time FTR's going to wrestle, the Outrunners going to come out after the match?
Do we think that we're getting an FTR Outrunners program at some point?
Yeah, it could happen.
I think we're leading to an FTR Outrunners program at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to see, we're definitely going to see more of the Outrunners because they are popular. I don't understand why the whole 80s gimmick is popular, but hey, it works. It gets people over.
80s rule, dude.
We then go back to the Acclaimed backstage, asking about what's next. MVP and Shelton interrupt, basically offering their services to the Acclaimed. Thoughts on this? What do you think? Do you think we might get Outrunners will become the new Acclaimed, and then they turn heel? Probably. Where did the Outrunners come from? The 1980s. They came straight out of your VHS.
Beta player.
Former guest on the podcast is a member of the Outrunners. There you go. ABJ has interviewed them. For your inside knowledge, follow ABJ. Nah, he won't give you insider information. He will, however, give you some absolutely great interviews. So definitely check out his live shows. And
I remember her.
Podcast.
I remember her on TV with the Outrunners.
Yep, Erica Lee.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on the Acclaim? Do you think they're going to join the Hurt Syndicate or whatever it is, that the Hurt business, the Hurt fucking program?
I'll be very shocked if they did.
I think we're going to see a heel turn from them here, or soon. I think they're not as strong as faces as they were, because not everybody loves the Acclaimed. I
know it's been kind of downhill as far as the fan support and all that.
I think they work better as heels rather than as faces.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a potential that we do get them joining Shelton and MVP. But I don't know. I don't know 100%.
Reckon they'll split the tag team?
I don't think so. Don't think we'll split the tag team. I just think that we'll keep them as a team, but it'll be different. It'll be a different vibe.
Yeah.
We go to our second match of the night, which was for the TBS title. We all knew how this was going to end, but it was Mercedes Moné versus Queen Aminata. Aminata is fucking amazing in the ring. She shows. I can see why she's been working so well in Ring of Honor, and bringing her across to AEW was a very, very smart move.
Yeah, she come a long way.
For me, this is probably Mercedes' best match I've seen in AEW. And Mercedes brought back the bank statement. So
yeah.
We're gonna bypass that because we don't need to really go too in detail. I did think we were going to get a debut here though.
Yeah.
Because the way they did the entrance, you had Justin Roberts in the ring giving the entrance. So they made it feel like an important segment, an important section of the match. I'm surprised that we didn't get a debut. But you know what? These things happen. I'm guessing they might be saving that for another time.
I think Statlander is going to get Mercedes title shot. Shot.
We then move to a video package for from the Bucks versus Private Party from WrestleDream, and we get them backstage at the show. Private Party want another shot at the tag titles. The Bucks turn around and decline it. And then Stokely comes in, basically offering his services again. And this time Private Party are considering it. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's indifferent?
I think Private Party is going to be turning heel soon. I really do.
I don't think they're going to turn heel. I think that Stokely will join them, or they'll join Stokely, and I think that they'll start to move up the card. And I think it's good that we are getting Private Party back, and we're starting to focus on tag teams again. We're getting a building of the tag team division again. Because one thing AEW was very, very well known for was their tag team division. Their tag team division was a really strong division. And in the past 2 years, it's been very, very lackluster. So I think we probably will see that. We then go to a segment with the Elite backstage, who have a cake for Kenny Omega's birthday. Jack Perry drops offal, so brains, kidneys, and all that sort of crap onto the cake, and then basically says he doesn't care. He doesn't care if Kenny dies. So
I'm like, whoa.
I think we're building to Kenny versus Jack Perry at some point.
Good, yeah.
And I think it's going to come soon.
What do you think?
I don't know exactly.
Think he'll do it in Japan?
Maybe.
Dynasty?
Maybe Japan. Maybe winter is coming.
Because Omega's booked for Wrestle Kingdom, so I'm assuming, he could probably do a Wrestle Dynasty too.
I want to see Omega return, and I want it to be good.
Yeah.
Just if they're going to do this, and it's going to be against Jack Perry, make the program good. Don't ruin it.
Don't rush his return, pretty much. Just make sure he's 100% healthy and all that and everything.
Build him properly. The next segment or next match was the conglomeration, which is Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, and Rocky Romero versus the Bucks and Okada or the Elite, whatever. So we get that match. It ends in a disqualification because Yuta and Puck and the BCC come out and attack the conglomeration. Top Flight
Beating them like
attempts to make,
soda dogs.
yep. Top Flight attempts to make the save, gets the shit kicked out of them. Dark Order tries to make the save with one of the guys with Alex Reynolds trying to convince the Bucks to get involved.
What are you doing?
They get the shit kicked out of them. The Elite walk away. Moxley ends up on the mic and basically says AEW is under attack, and this is the price you pay for doing business. What are your thoughts? What do you think we're doing here?
It's going to be like the back in the WCW days, the New World Order.
I think we're building to a war, and I think
Yeah.
it's going to be an all-out war. And I think there's a lot to process here. There's a hell of a lot to process and a hell of a lot to go through, and a hell of a lot to build on. No, ABJ, I'm not saying that out loud. I am not saying that out loud. Rude. But you're right. You're right, but you're rude. That is unfortunately right, but it is rude. And they do this story how Mania should have ended. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Agreed. We then go backstage after the attack where the Elite are walking backstage. Garcia and Private Party end up confronting the Elite. Clearly, we are going to get Garcia versus Jack Perry at some point.
Headbutt each other.
I'm keen to see that. Are we trying to are we trying to turn the Bucks faces here, or are we trying to keep them out of this at all costs?
I think they're going to be baby faces after World's End.
Do we get them reuniting with Kenny? Do you think we get them reuniting with Kenny? Do you think that Jack Perry joins Moxley's group, and then we get a reuniting of Kenny and the Bucks to save the day for AEW as well?
Well, it's going to take a lot, though, if they coexist.
Yeah. Do we really think that Shane is a part of this?
Don't know.
I don't think so. I really don't. I never thought he was. I thought that maybe him having a conversation with Tony was a smart move by Tony, and Tony's smart because in releasing the picture, because it puts attention on the company.
You know what I think who could be if it's not Shane?
Who?
Nigel.
I don't think Nigel would be strong enough.
All that heat with Danielson?
I don't think it would be strong enough, though.
You don't think so?
No.
Or maybe Sting?
Oh, hell no. It would never be Sting. I like your thoughts, but it would never be Sting. We then get a Swerve video package, which goes into Leo Rush versus Shelton Benjamin.
That was a good match.
Fucking solid match. Absolutely solid match, even though Leo Rush looked like a fucking 8-year-old being thrown around by a 40-year-old.
Shelton threw Leo like a bone dart, that German.
Where he threw him to the ring when you guys go to commercial, and he actually throws him into the corner spot, and he goes through the rope into the floor. I was just like, oh fuck! And then I hear ABJ watching it because we're in Discord together, and he's like, oh shit! And it was gold. It was gold. Like,
I meant to start back and watch on Discord.
Yeah, it was insane. So because I was slightly ahead of ABJ. And read somewhere that Mox's new character is based on an Australian movie. What movie do you think? And if you're going to say, if you're thinking bloody the fuck, what's the movie? I can't even think of the movie
Your
now.
guess as good as mine.
I was going to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's not. No, it's the Outback Murders, the Peter Falcone murders, possibly the movie that was based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, I don't know. Maybe could be Mad Max inspired. Who knows? But this Shelton Leo match was great. I like the fact that we got the continuation here with the Swerve MVP thing, saying that basically if he doesn't join them, that this is how he's going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
So we then go to a pre-recorded video of Darby and announcing a signed Tony Hawk picture that's now available on AEW Shop. Not that anybody's going to really buy it. We then go back to stage to Swerve, who confirms that he wants the match against Shelton Benjamin. I'm all for that. I'm keen. I'm keen to see these two in the ring. We then go to the in-ring segment with Tony Schiavone calling, who is there to have a press conference with Don Callis. Don Callis has his new bodyguards in Brian Cage and Lance Archer, with Lance Archer channeling his inner Drew McIntyre.
Just got a question though. Where's the press?
That's exactly. Romper Stomper. Good old Romper Stomper. Possibly. Go back and watch the movie. There is a scene that you won't want to ever watch, and your face will hurt. Yeah, Lance Archer here looking like a budget version of Drew McIntyre. He calls out Takeshita and Fletcher. Takeshita says he's taking the belt worldwide. Fletcher then comes out, or basically says he's not going to give us a why he attacked Kenny Omega, not Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay.
And not only that, though, they also got Brian Cage, too, also.
Yeah. I think that this Don Callis family unit is going to look fucking strong. I think it is going to be great for everyone that's involved in it.
It's going to be interesting to Hobbs come back if he's going to be staying with Callis or not.
We'll see.
Imagine that beef bump with him.
I mean, then Tony Khan can get his meat match that he wanted. We then go back to stage to Mariah May, who talks about Tony Storm getting the number one spot on the PWI 250 list. She talks about Japan. She talks about how there's no competition for her. Anna Jay interrupts, pushes her around, and then slaps Christopher Daniels by accident, which was
meant for Mariah.
It was a poorly timed and poor execution for the way they made it look. Clearly, we're going to get Mariah May versus Anna Jay at some point. The idea is to build
belts, probably.
I think we're trying to build Anna Jay, which is a smart move because she's just come back from Japan.
Yeah.
But she's not a contender yet.
No.
She's definitely not a contender yet. So
it'll be an eliminator match.
Yeah, I think we're doing something until Tony gets back, obviously.
Yeah.
We then get Ricochet backstage issuing an open challenge for Collision. He wants Takeshita, but he's clearly not going to get Takeshita on Collision, so we're going to get an open challenge. I think he'll probably end up with Lance Archer or Brian Cage accepting this.
Will be cool if it's hologram.
I don't think it will be hologram.
I know it won't happen, though, but it'd be cool if it is, though.
Yeah. We then go backstage again to the exit of the arena, where the BCC are still fighting with the faces in the backstage area. They end up leaving in the back of that truck, and we get Dark Order demanding that they've been there from day one, and they want the BCC. We also get Top Flight demanding a spot against them as well. So, like ABJ said, we're going to get this. They're going to do this story of how Mania should have ended with the whole locker room banding together. Yeah. I think that's a great move by AEW. I think it's a smart move because it showcases all the talent that are sitting around not doing much.
Yeah,
and it gives talent that haven't been on the show a chance to shine. So we then come to the main event of the night, which is Jay White versus Christian.
Great match too. I enjoyed it.
Great match. Jay White looking for his revenge here, looking to get back the win that he lost because of Christian. We get Kip Sabian interrupting the match twice because obviously the timing was wrong for certain things. Hangman came out to ringside, wasn't meant to interfere at that point, but we then get Kip Sabian coming back and interfering. Hangman interferes, hits the buckshot lariat, continuing the feud with Jay White.
Yeah, both of them for the rest of the year.
Thoughts, theories, feelings.
Yeah, they're going to feud rest of the year, Jay and Heyman. I think they're going to have a rematch at Full Gear, and I think they're going to do 2 out of 3 falls at the World's End.
Ooh, 2 out of 3 falls. Do you think we're going to get a
Heyman's going to break the tie at Full Gear, and World's End be 2 out of 3 falls? Huh?
Are we not going to get a bunkhouse stampede?
Well, that would be cool too. But I'm just thinking if Heyman wins at Full Gear, break the tie at 2 out of 3 falls.
Or are we going to get the same one that Dustin had back in the day where he was on the back of a fucking semi-trailer?
The Tupelo?
The Tupelo fucking semi-trailer match.
Yeah, I read.
Yeah. Are we going to get that again?
I don't know.
Are we going to get them fighting on the back of a trailer as they drive along, and then one of them gets thrown out the side?
Well, the World's End is going to be in Orlando. It could be the Walt Disney World Street Fight.
Oh, bloody. Mickey will come out. Oh boy. You'll get Mickey involved. Oh, bloody hell. All in all, this show was a better show and better produced and better put together than last week. While still promo heavy, it felt like an episode of Dynamite. It felt like I was watching Dynamite.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was watching Monday Night Raw, Vince era.
The promos are better than last week. I'll say that right now. A whole lot better than last week.
Yep. I think we're starting to build new programs here. We're obviously building MJF and Adam Cole again. We're building Jericho and stuff. Actually, before we go there, we do have the announcement that Swerve will get his match against Shelton Benjamin in 2 weeks' time at Fright Night. Fright Night Dynamite. So Halloween-themed Dynamite, obviously. This is what I was saying to you earlier, that AEW is starting to build long-term because they're not giving us Swerve versus Shelton next week. They're giving it in 2 weeks' time. We're also going to get a debut that night. Which, you know it, I know it, every man and his fucking dog knows it. We're going to get a debut that
Well,
night.
we thought we were going to get it at WrestleDream, but apparently they didn't do it.
I think they saved it because of so much going on with that show.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been overshadowed by the ending. Adam Cole and MJF were safe to bring back for the segment that they had.
Mm-hmm.
The ending overshadowed the rest of the pay-per-view because of the way it ended. So I think that's why we saved the Bobby Lashley debut until then, or until 2 weeks' time when he debuts at Fright Night. Because what's going to happen, Swerve's going to get the win or be close to getting the win, and he's going to turn around and there will be Bobby Lashley.
Get speared from behind.
And get speared.
Yep. Didn't see it coming.
Yep. So that's my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a spoiler?
It could happen.
What do you think, chat? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. This is where we open it up to you, and you can decide.
If Lashley doesn't return October 30th, I don't know what will.
Yeah. This is where we open it up to you, and you guys decide on what you want to say. If you feel like anything should be said.
Alex thinks it could be Full Gear.
Full Gear? You reckon Full Gear? I think he's going to turn up earlier. I really do. I think he'll be at Fright Night Dynamite.
And I could see Bobby wrestling at Full Gear, not showing up.
Yeah, I think he wrestles at Full Gear, and I think he faces a Swerve at Full Gear.
Agree.
I think that he shows up on Fright Night, and they build for a match between him and Swerve at Full Gear.
They got 3.5 weeks to build up to after October 30th. So
if not, build it to, if they don't build it to Full Gear, they build it to World's End.
World's End, yeah.
Or we have a match at Full Gear with Bobby. Swerve wins, and then we get MVP is going to fight Swerve at Full Gear, then Bobby debuts to cost Swerve the fight at World's End.
I'd rather have MVP fight Prince Nana.
I like your prediction. I think you're wrong, but I like it.
He's not capable to wrestle, though.
I think what we're going to get is we're going to get Bobby debuting at Fright Night. They wrestle at Full Gear. Swerve wins. It's okay. I think Swerve wins, but Bobby attacks Bobby and Shelton and all that continue the attack, and they build to another story for World's End.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happens.
If Lashley shows up at Fright Night, they got 3.5 weeks to build it up for Full Gear. I could possibly see them wrestle at Full Gear, and they can drag us out till World's End.
They can definitely drag it out. There's definitely potential for dragging it out and building it and making it a strong showing. Like it's just a matter of doing the right thing and making sure that they push it the right way.
Yeah.
I think that we definitely have some strong stories coming out of this show. We definitely had some strong stories coming out of the pay-per-view.
Yep.
I think AEW is starting to find its footing, and we're getting into a good place again. We're going to be in a good place. The attendance is starting to pick back up. Okay, they don't have 10, 15,000 people per show, but they have them at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They build
bigger arenas, yep.
Yeah. This show, 3,000 people at the show. So when last week, I think it was only like 1,700 or something. So
yeah,
it's building. They're building back up, and it's going to take time. Every company goes through a lull. WWE went through a lull. WCW went through a lull. Then they created the NWO and made the hottest fucking product there ever was. WWE then started building up the Attitude Era. TNA started somewhat hot and then went through a massive lull. Hell, even fucking earlier this year, it was either earlier this year or late last year, the buy rate for one of the TNA shows didn't even register.
No.
And the attendance was like 400 people.
Wow.
So, but now TNA over the past few months has had a couple of thousand people at their shows. So every company goes through a lull and every company builds back up. I think that AEW is getting to that point, but the problem we have is that there's so much tribalism and people just don't want to enjoy wrestling. They want to shit on a company because they're not what they see and what they've seen for the past 30 to 40 years.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are picking on AEW though because they're comparing it to WCW.
Well, the thing is, people are looking at people. There's a whole generation that's grown up, and their focus and the only things they've ever had eyes on is WWE and the WWE product.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't gone and searched for TNA. They haven't bothered researching New Japan. They haven't done anything like that. They didn't know about ROH, and all they were ingrained with was WWE. AEW is completely an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, I love AEW. I like AEW better than WWE right now. So
yeah, I think we're definitely building to a stronger foundation. I think that we're building up the younger stars. We are going to get these younger stars becoming main eventers. We've already got one of the youngest one of the youngest people who's been a world champion in MJF, and he's made a name for himself in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So the company does know how to make their stars. Yes, they do use WWE talent, ex-WWE talent, but they also know how to build their own stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like Orange Cassidy, MJF. Okay, they're not original AEW characters. They come from the indies into AEW, but they're still, this is the first major platform for them. This is the first major showing that they get.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that AEW is doing the right thing.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, we are going to end here. We will be back on Saturday my time, Friday night Stevens time, 9:30 p.m. Central Time, which is 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Eastern, yep. And I believe that's, what time is it now for you, Stephen?
Or what time is it right now for me? It's 10:46 p.m. here.
Okay, so around the 1:30 mark again, Australian time, for the AEW 5-year anniversary show. We are going to be watching episode 34, or recapping episode 34, which is the TNT title match between Cody Rhodes and Brody Lee.
I think it was a dog collar match too, right?
No, it wasn't a dog collar match. That comes later.
I thought that was.
Yeah, no, that comes later. That comes later. So, but we will see you again on Friday night in America, Saturday afternoon in Australia, and if you're in the UK, early hours of the fucking morning on Saturday morning. It's been a pleasure having everyone here. Thank you to everyone that's shown up in the chat. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the comments. If you like what you see, click that button. If you don't like what you see, that's your problem, not mine.
Short and sweet.
Take care, my friends. Bye for now.